This just in, there is a terrifying delusion plaguing the founders of almost every small to medium service business on the planet. The belief that if you are just a little bit smarter than your competitors, you will automatically win. You pour all of your resources into the smart side of the house. You obsess over complex marketing funnels, cutting-edge technology, and aggressive financial strategies. But according to the brutal reality outlined in the book The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni, being smart is no longer a strategic advantage. It is a cheap, easily duplicated commodity. In an era where everyone has access to the exact same information and software, being smart is merely the minimum standard required just to enter the arena. It gives you permission to play, but it does not give you permission to win. The true uncopyable strategic moat for a small business looking to outmaneuver a corporate giant isn't intelligence. It is organizational health. Most companies exploit only a tiny fraction of their intellectual capital because the rest is hopelessly trapped behind toxic internal politics, massive confusion, and bureaucratic fiction. Before you spend another dollar upgrading your software, we need to look at exactly why your brilliant strategies are failing and how to fix the broken human foundation underneath them. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Vicky Sidler, a StoryBrand certified guide and duct tape marketing strategist from the Strategic Marketing Tribe. And I help small business owners like you build failure-proof marketing by focusing on the exact 20% of effort that drives 80% of the results. All so that your marketing stops feeling like a miserable second job you never asked for. I believe your absolute greatest competitive advantage is simply sounding undeniably human. Because, let's be honest, if your internal team is confused about your strategy, your customers are definitely confused by your marketing. You cannot scale chaos. So download my 5-minute marketing fix to align your entire organization around a single undeniable message so you can stop losing highly profitable clients to competitors with inferior services. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, why is your team sabotaging your brilliant strategy? You can have the most sophisticated, data-driven strategy in your industry, but if your leadership team is fractured, that strategy will die the second it leaves the boardroom. In a small service business, any tiny crack in the leadership team is violently magnified as it trickles down to the front lines. It results in wildly inconsistent client service and massive employee disengagement. Lencioni argues that behavioral cohesion at the top is the non-negotiable foundation of growth. To achieve this, your leadership team must master the 5 behaviors. It all starts with vulnerability-based trust. Leaders must be willing to admit their mistakes and weaknesses without fear of punishment. Without this trust, teams fall into artificial harmony, smiling in meetings while secretly undermining each other in hallways. A healthy team actively seeks out passionate, ideological conflict to find the best possible solution, fully embracing the philosophy to disagree and commit. But even if your team learns how to argue productively, they still need to know exactly what they are arguing about. Which begs the question, are you suffering from the consensus trap? Most businesses are paralyzed because their leaders mistake compromise for clarity. Once a team is behaviorally cohesive, they must achieve total intellectual alignment. Clarity is not some soft, feel-good HR concept. It is a rigid, functional requirement that ensures there is absolutely no daylight between leaders regarding the organization's direction. Lencioni insists that the leadership team must be able to unanimously answer 6 critical questions, including why do we exist? How do we behave? And what is the single most important thematic goal for the next 3 to 12 months? If your executives cannot agree on the exact same answers to those questions, your employees are receiving deeply conflicting instructions every single day. You must define your exact core values, and you cannot use permission to play values like honesty or integrity. Your core values must be the brutal, authentic differentiator that makes your organization actively intolerant of anyone who does not fit the culture. Once you define those rules, you have to ensure the rest of the company actually believes them. Which brings us to the next question. Why are your employees ignoring your emails? Clarity is completely useless if it remains securely locked inside the executive suite. Most leaders announce a new strategic direction once at an annual kickoff meeting and then act completely shocked when no one remembers it 3 weeks later. Lencioni argues that leaders must master spaced repetition. This is the architectural principle stating a message must be clearly communicated at least 7 times before it is truly believed and internalized by the staff. You cannot rely on a single boring email. You have to over-communicate clarity by intentionally cascading information down the org chart. At the end of every single executive meeting, the team must agree on exactly what was decided, who is going to communicate it, and how they will deliver the message in person. You have to actively seed the organizational rumor mill with true rumors, ensuring the correct information reaches the staff before the toxic speculation and office politics can fill the vacuum. But talk is cheap. To make organizational health permanent, you have to build it directly into your human systems. Which should lead you to ask, how do you weaponize your hiring process? Well, for organizational health to survive the brutal whirlwind of daily operations, it must be embedded into the very fabric of how you hire, fire, and reward your people. Every single human system must ruthlessly protect the culture. When interviewing candidates, Lencioni's framework demands you screen for the ideal team player by looking for 3 specific virtues: humble, hungry, and smart, or emotional intelligence. You cannot just ask generic questions. You have to look for immediate red flags. If you ask a candidate for their biggest weakness and they pivot to a strength disguised as a weakness, like "I just work too hard," they lack the necessary humility for vulnerability-based trust. If you ask what annoys them about their coworkers and they use the opportunity to aggressively trash their former team, they lack the emotional intelligence to survive in a healthy environment. Intelligence is just a commodity. Organizational health is the ultimate multiplier that allows your smart assets to actually perform. If your business feels like a chaotic, cash-eating monster, it is because your foundation is cracked. You need a fast, effective way to align your team and your messaging. So get my 5-minute marketing fix. It is a rapid diagnostic tool that helps you strip out the confusing corporate jargon so you can build a clear, uncopyable competitive advantage that actually drives revenue. Stop losing sales. Download the fix now. You can get it for free in the description below, or you can go to strategicmarketingtribe.com/fix. But what about you? What is the absolute most absurd, painfully obvious example of artificial harmony you have ever witnessed in a corporate boardroom? I'll go first. I once sat in a 2-hour budget meeting where the entire executive team passionately agreed to a 10% across the board spending cut. The meeting ended, we walked into the hallway, and the VP of sales immediately turned to his assistant and said, "Ignore all of that. Order the new laptops." Okay, your turn. When did you witness fake agreements in a meeting? Let me know in the comments. I'm Vicky Sidler from the Strategic Marketing Tribe, and I post helpful book reviews for small businesses every week.